Hello Year 11 and welcome to the first of 15 whistle-stop videos about the conflict cluster poems in the AQA anthology. And as you can see, we're starting with Flag. Just a quick reminder, I'm going to be using the Art Wars method to talk you through these poems, the Art Wars mnemonic. If you use these, then you guarantee that you are addressing everything that the mark scheme asks for. However, the depth that you do this in is going to dictate your grade. So the more you can say and the more precise you can be, the better. So without further ado, A, about. What is Flag about? Flag is about attitudes to nationhood and the idea that soldiers and anybody, in fact, who has a nation allies their efforts to that nation in war. That's a superficial interpretation, though, however. If you want to access the upper bands, you have to say that this is actually quite an accusatory poem, which talks about the destruction and decimation that can occur if a person allies themselves purely to a flag. The title's significant, very direct address. You could almost say it's an eponymous poem, because the name Flag is reflected by the main character, the main idea. This is about representing a flag and allying yourself to what a flag represents. Repeated ideas. In every stanza bar 1, the middle line says, it's just a piece of cloth, it's just a piece of cloth, it's just a piece of cloth. And Agard really is talking about the supreme irony that a flag is just a piece of cloth, but people devote themselves, lose their lives, devote their lives to a flag and everything it represents. Tone. It's very accusatory. It is a very accusational poem which accuses those who perhaps ask people to devote themselves to a cause. It's also a very cynical poem. It's a very, very cynical poem in that it very clearly makes the point that if you ally yourself to a flag, if you become very patriotic, then the flag will outlive the blood you bleed. Okay. Interesting. Let's look at the individual words. Okay. The individual words. There are several that are very, very emotive. It will outlive the blood you bleed in stanza 4. Okay. We have in stanza 2 the idea of guts, a very literally visceral reaction. Very visceral, emotive word. But the individual word I want to focus on here is the idea of blind your conscience to the end. Blind your conscience to the end. Now, it would be a fantastic response to say that actually the blind devotion that people can give to a flag can actually cause terrible consequences to oneself and to others. Alliteration and any other techniques. Well, do we have alliteration here? We don't have that much, really. Although, you do have the repetition of what's that? What's that? What's that? Of the first 4 stanzas. It builds up a rhythm, especially when John Agard performs it. As a performance poet, he's very, very alliterative. He almost sounds percussive when he's performing. You have to think about the effect of that. My advice to you would be to link the alliteration to the tone, because they link together very well. Rhyme and rhythm. Interesting. We have rhymes that are half rhymes. They're not quite perfect. They're slightly flawed, you could say. We have breeze, knees in stanza 1, pole, bold, tent, relent, field, bleed, cloth. And then the final stanza doesn't rhyme at all. That's very, very significant. Because just as the tone and the themes of this poem are about things that have gone wrong, the things that are perhaps flawed, so the rhyme is flawed, and those two things reflect each other. And then finally, structure. The structure is vital for this. We have 4 very regular stanzas, a question on the first line, and then an answer on the next 2. That is the same on the final stanza. However, the actual middle words, the middle line changes. Just ask for a flag, my friend. I believe that Agard is actually saying a flag is responsible for all of these things, bringing nations to their knees, making the guts of men grow bold, daring a coward to relent, outliving blood that is bled. Ask for a flag. Again, this is accusatory tone. Now, whatever you are discussing with the art wars here, the crucial thing, absolutely vital thing, is that you ensure you comment on the effect of these things on the reader. Comment on the effect of these terms on the reader. What is the effect of the repeated ideas? What is the effect of the tone? What effect do the individual words actually achieve? So there's the first of 15, as I say, flag. In the next extract from Out of the Blue by Simon Armitage, we'll be talking more about this effect. Thank you.